glass marbles into our mason jar. After that, we're gonna pour our heavy cream in, making sure to get as much in here as we can. Then we're just gonna do a pinch of salt. If you want it to be a little more salty, you can add a little bit more, but I'm just gonna do a little pinch. That's okay, you can make a mess, it's all right. Okay, so then we're gonna put our lid on our mason jar. And you wanna make sure you get it tight so when you start shaking it, it doesn't go everywhere. And then we're gonna start shaking it, and we're gonna shake this for 15 minutes. So we'll be back in the middle. To separate it by straining out our buttermilk into another container, and then we can save this buttermilk and use it for other things such as biscuits, like we'll make later on in this video, or just anything that you have needs for buttermilk. You can use this excess in. Then we're going to scoop out our butter, make sure to get our marbles out of it because you don't want to. Then we're going to get the excess, just as much as you can because you don't want anything to go to waste. And then get the marbles out. Okay. Then we're going to take our water from earlier and we're going to form this into a ball. We're gonna dip this in here just to clean off our butter. Okay, so after we've cleaned it, we formed a ball. We're just gonna set this in a different container just to sit for now. And then we can clean our mason jar out, and then we can put the butter back in the mason jar for storage. You can use this butter for about anything that you would like to, as well as the buttermilk, so nothing's going to waste. And that's how you make homemade butter. Okay, so now we're gonna make homemade biscuits. So we are going to be using the butter we made earlier as well as the buttermilk. This is just another way of using products that we've used before and then not letting them go to waste. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix all of our dry ingredients together, and then we're gonna set them aside. So starting off, we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We're gonna pour that into our bowl. Then we have 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then I'm gonna measure out real quick, 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna take a whisk and just mix all these together real quick. And then set this to the side. I've also already preheated the oven. We're gonna preheat that to 425 degrees. I have my baking sheet. It's recommended to use parchment paper, but for this one, I'm just gonna use Pam and just a regular cookie sheet. Now that our butter has been in the freezer for about 15-ish minutes, we're going to take it out, and we are going to use this grater to grate it in to our flour and sugar and salt and baking powder mix. Okay, now we're going to begin to mix this up. Stop the video. Now as you can see, it's starting to kind of clump up with our mix. Just a little bit. So now we're going to add our buttermilk that we had earlier for making our homemade butter. We're just gonna add that all in here. And then I'm gonna take this wooden spoon and I'm just gonna stir this up until it starts to to combine. Okay, stop the video. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to combine a little bit. At this point, it may be a little easier just to kind of get your hands in there and just knead it together, just because you can see like the wooden spoon's not doing as much. So you just want to get this excess off of our spoon. And then just get in there and start kneading it together as much as you can. I mean, if you have excess in the bowl, that is okay. Pause. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna move our dough over here and we're just gonna continue to knead it. And as we're kneading it, we're gonna fold it just like this. Just making it all connected together and just making sure everything is getting spread out. We're getting all of our ingredients in there the best we can. I'm just folding and kneading it. Pause. Okay. Now that we have our dough in like this ball shape, it's all together, everything's mixed together, we're gonna take it and we're gonna flatten it out with our hands. You don't wanna use a roller because it's not really gonna go well with the roller, but with our hands, we can just get this nice flat piece. You want it to be just about an inch, inch and a half to 2 inches thick. Just flatten it out as much as you can. And then for this, if you have a biscuit cutter, you can use that. I'm just gonna use the top of a mason jar. So we're just gonna dip this in flour just so it doesn't all stick. And then just plop it in here, push it down, and then pull it up. And then you have your first biscuit, and we're gonna put that on the baking sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll be back once I have them all on. Okay, all right, so here's all our biscuits cut out. With this mason jar lid, I believe this was about a 16-ounce mason jar lid. I was able to get 7 biscuits. They're pretty large biscuits, but that's okay. I'm gonna pop this in the oven for about 12 minutes until they're golden brown, and then I will show you all that when I get that done.
All right, let's talk about making strawberry jam. So for this, you're gonna need a pound of fresh strawberries, 1.5 cups of granulated white sugar, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, a mason jar. If you want to add lemon zest, you can. I didn't in this video, but that is an option. We're just gonna go through the steps of this, and I have a demonstration for you, but let's just talk about these instructions. So we're going to wash and slice the strawberries, then we're going to add them to the saucepan, mix the sugar in well, stir continually over medium heat. We're going to bring them to a boil. Once boiling, we're going to add the lemon juice, and again, that zest if you're using it. We're going to boil for about 15 minutes. I ended up boiling for only about 11. I checked and my jam had reached 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Just make sure that we're stirring often so the jam doesn't burn. And then we're going to pour it into a jar to allow it to cool. And then once after that, you can cover and refrigerate it. And again, like we've talked about in past videos about preserving, you want to make sure to write down the date that you made this. I didn't have a full pound of fresh strawberries, so I made a little less jam. This is about how much I ended with, but if you have a full pound, it should fill up a whole mason jar. your garden or just anything that you're raising in your homestead. So just find those recipes, create your own, and just go from there. Again, with what like we talked about many times before with homesteading, is it's one of those things that it's just starting small. And if that's for you, just making these biscuits and butter and jam, and not buying it from the store, that could be your start of your homestead journey. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.